So we made our 1984 Ghostbusters review a little while ago, a few days ago, and we said we were going to go see it Sunday, which we did, but unfortunately we've been pretty busy trying to pack her house up and paint her house, so now this review is coming a little late, just a little bit, but we're still doing it because we still both want to see this movie, and we both had very strong feelings, so we still wanted to get that out to you guys.
And we made the first one.
Yeah, exactly. So, continuation. So Ghostbusters 2016, because I am not calling it just straight Ghostbusters. No, just straight Ghostbusters is the original Ghostbusters. Agreed?
Yeah,
Agreed?
we said that in the first one. They
Done.
know that.
So this is Ghostbusters 2016, which is basically the same movie as the 1984 film. Will you stop looking at me? Look to the people.
The people?
Don't just stare at me like this.
But you're talking.
Anyway, Ghostbusters, this new film is pretty much exactly the same movie as the old one. You have a bunch of disgraced college professors and some random person off the street who's like, yay, I'm cool, I can be a part of you guys. Yay. And they all try and go and save New York City from an infestation by ghosts with some supernatural deity controlling the entire thing. We do have this new movie, which is very different from the original because it has 4 female cast members instead of 4 male cast members. That is Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Leslie Jones, and Kate McKinnon, who I found to be really funny.
They carried through the entire film. Without them, it would have just been Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, basically. I was very surprised because a lot of people were very negative towards this movie beforehand because they said, oh, how dare you remake this classic movie with all females, you know, that's wrong and all this sort of stuff. But they were probably the best part of the movie, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Out of everything that happened, they were the reason why I was laughing. They were the reason why I was continuing to watch.
I mean, it's not just the main 4 that they replaced, like a gender swap sort of a deal with. Like the secretary... I still don't know her name in the movie.
I don't know her name.
They replaced her with Kevin, who's a male, so it's kind of taking the original and putting a twist on it.
Yeah.
But they definitely tried to make it feel like the original did.
Yeah.
With a lot of Easter eggs.
So I would say that the new cast, that worked. The different things that they took with this sort of idea, the original ideas that they had, those are the ones that played off the best.
Right.
The ones that ended up feeling similar to the original just felt similar to the original. Just it felt derivative.
Yeah.
The fact that the whole last climax involved some big giant ghost thingy terrorating through New York City, and they have to, cross the streams.
And they were running around just killing millions of ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, were they killing them? That was something I was confused about. They take on all these ghosts, which you see in the trailer, but they use their proton things when they were killing all the ghosts. How were they killing them when those things are meant to just wrap around them and put them into the trap?
Well, they never specified that was the proton thing. They just kind of were like, these are my new toys with the blonde girl. I don't know anybody's name. I'm bad at this.
One of those little things that just kind of didn't make too much sense to me. And
I never thought about that until now.
Yeah,
actually.
so it's just one of those things. I just thought, like, wait, how are they killing them? These are proton lasers. They just loop around them and put them in the trap. It's one of those little tiny things, but they still had the proton packs, the same as the original. They still had similar costumes. They still had the similar theme music, the similar car. The characters' nature themselves.
Similar scenes they built up to look like other scenes, like with the restaurant with all the glass windows.
Yes, yeah, that was true. It looked very similar to the original film.
Each of the 4 characters even like embodied the original.
I was just about to say that.
Look at us. Look at us. It's like we talked about this already.
We're just bonding. It's just.
So they like embodied the original characters, which in a way was good because you like cover all the bases, you know? Like you have each extreme of type of person, and then they all get along in the end and whatever, work as a team. Yeah. But at the same time, like you kind of wanted something else.
Yeah, the characters themselves, while they will perform very well by the actors, were still the same characters as the original.
Except for Kevin.
Except for Kevin. Kevin was the only different character, and he was the best. Because the weirdest thing about this movie is the trailers look pretty terrible. Like, nobody really watched those trailers.
I think everyone on YouTube knows that the trailers look terrible.
Exactly. But the thing is, some of the most awful parts of the trailers, such as when Kevin's trying to pitch the logo to them, and he has some weird, silly ideas, guess what? that was some of the funniest stuff in the movie. Kevin was hilarious. Chris Hemsworth just plays this buffoon like a second skin, and she's doing one of the jokes where he has glasses, but he took the lenses out because he said they kept getting dirty, and whenever there's a loud noise, he covers his eyes. It's just those little things that I thought were just consistently fantastic.
And he didn't know how to answer the phone.
Oh, it's just...
It was just great.
I don't know what Chris Hemsworth did, but whatever he did was just fantastic.
Well, you could tell they were all having a great time.
Exactly. You could tell they were all really having a lot of fun with what they were given, with this okay script, which, you know, it was there, you know, but I think the real key to the comedy of this movie is the energy of the cast.
The delivery.
And that's about all the positives, to be honest, because the rest of it isn't that great. I know we're just talking this up as like, oh, this is a fun sort of movie. Yeah, it's fun for about it's fun for about 30 minutes, to be honest. It's really hilarious for the first act. Then they bust their first ghost, and then nothing happens whatsoever.
Well,
they start talking.
The build-up was really good. Like when they introduced the characters, and they seemed a lot like the originals, yes, but they all kind of had their little backstories and whatnot. But then it just kind of, it was like, okay, now we're the Ghostbusters. Now we're the exact same as the first one.
And now let's just push the plot along with a very terrible villain who made no sense whatsoever. So, this is a tiny little...
Oh, yeah, the villain's a whole nother
This is a tiny little spoiler. I don't know if, like...
You just spoiled the whole ending, are you kidding?
We
started with the ending.
Shh. This may be a little bit of a spoiler, but if you've been following on with the marketing campaign, if you've seen the toys, you know that the bad guy is this guy called Rowan, who is kind of like this ghost fanatic. He is this loneliest guy in New York City, and basically he ends up dying, but then he becomes a ghost. His ghost inhabits one of the characters, then he continues along with his plot, and then escapes that body, and then basically turns into Gozer from the first movie, saying, which form would you like me to choose? And then chooses this big thing, which was just a complete, It
looked exactly like the Marshmallow guy.
Exactly. It was exactly the same as the Marshmallow Man. As soon as that happened, I switched off, because this villain didn't make any sense. How was he able to turn into a ghost? There was nothing beforehand that suggested he learned that, or like, does everyone turn into a ghost when they die? It was not explained. He just randomly turned into a ghost, and there you go.
And beforehand, he was just kind of like ominously sitting in the ends of scenes going, oh, now I'm going to destroy this, or whatever. It was just really... he was like kind of like that rebellious teen that's like, the world is awful.
And I'm going to destroy it.
But you never really get what they're doing or why. They're just kind of trying to be that rebel or whatever.
It was a problem. It's a problem that a lot of big blockbusters
have. Any motive.
Yeah, he doesn't have a motive, and that's a problem with a lot of blockbusters. They can have all these really cool characters and maybe a lot of references to something that was come before, comic books, source material, that sort of thing. But a lot of them have the problem that the villain is boring. He's just dull, he's unmotivated, uninspired, and it became a really big flaw for me. There's a lot of other little flaws, and the fact that maybe some of the jokes towards the end of the movie don't land as well as they should. The big climax when they're fighting all the ghosts doesn't feel right. It just feels like another Marvel movie where they're just taking out a disposable army of basically nothing. And also the cameos, they had the complete original cast except for Harold Ramis, who unfortunately passed away last year, and Rick Moranis, who has been retired for the last 20 years. Yeah. So they had the entire rest of the original cast: Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Annie Potts, Sigourney Weaver. They had all of them there, and they wasted them awfully. Bill Murray's cameo stops the movie dead. Dan Aykroyd's is kind of funny. Annie Potts as the secretary of the hotel.
I liked that one.
That was okay. Sigourney Weaver's was weird, and Ernie Hudson had 2 lines, and that was just at the very end of the movie, and then the credits roll, and you're like, no, what is he at a Oh, now it's over.
Yeah, it was one of those things that if you took it out of the movie, it wouldn't have changed anything, which seems kind of pointless. Why you would use these really important people and just give them no sort of role.
I don't know. Look,
I don't know. They could have included them and been like, we're going to train a new Ghostbusters, or they could have... I don't know. They could have done something, you know?
Yeah, there was a lot of missed opportunities with this movie, and as a remake or a continuation in this franchise, it does feel very tight. It's as I said to Alison, it's the 3rd film in this franchise, and yet I felt fatigue from this is the same plot
Yeah.
we've gotten in the past 2 movies. In Ghostbusters 1, it was fine because this was a new thing. Ghostbusters 2, yeah, it's exactly the same movie and they kind of got away with it, but we can realize that now. In this movie, where we have a lot of franchises, a lot of continuations, sequels, reboots, remakes, we want something fresh and different, and we just didn't get that with this new Ghostbusters movie. In the end, Ghostbusters is enjoyable in parts. The cast really works together well, but overall, Ghostbusters doesn't work as a continuation of the franchise. It shadows in comparison to the original. As a standalone comedy, it maybe didn't even need the ghost whatsoever. They could have just made it as like Bridesmaids 2.0 or something like. I don't know. It could have been like that. It felt like that at times, and they should have just gone, let's just do a straight comedy instead of a Ghostbusters movie. It feels just like this nice little comedy that isn't fluent, but then it's just got this Ghostbusters shell around it, and once you crack that shell, it really does fall apart.
Marketing.
And I'd have to say, me and her both will have to say that Ghostbusters, you should probably watch it on a plane instead. So Ghostbusters, have you seen it? A lot of people have seen it, so I'd really like to know what you think about it, because YouTube are the ones who decided, let's just downvote every single trailer for that movie. So please tell me what you think about the movie. Please tell me what you think about this review. We're going to be having about 2 or so more reviews to come with just me and Alison, and then unfortunately go back to Australia. But we're going to try, she's going to continue onto YouTube doing things that she wants to do, and then we'll try and collaborate in something else, definitely, because
Yeah, keep you around, I guess.
yeah,
You're alright.
you could keep. I could live here, you know.
What?
Nothing. Remember, push that little red button. Thank you for watching.